Nolan, you should have made it home. Somebody's still calling your name. Somebody's waiting by the door, praying you'll walk back home. Every tear still calls your name. Love won't let you go. Hold on till the truth comes into the light. Hold on, love remembers every life. 4th of July, you left with dreams in your eyes. A trip with friends, nobody thought we'd be saying goodbye. 2 days passed, then the world heard your name. A family searching for answers, nothing will ever feel the same. I won't turn whispers into truth, or rumors into proof. But every mother deserves the whole story. Every father deserves the truth. If somebody knows, don't let silence win. Truth shouldn't hide, let the light come in. Somebody's waiting by the door. Emmett Till, a child whose story changed the nation. Trayvon Martin walking home became a conversation. Tamir Rice, Jordan Davis, Ahmaud Arbery too. Different roles, different stories, every family carried truth. We don't say they all the same. Every case deserves its own light, but every child deserves tomorrow, and every home deserves good night. No matter who, no matter where, justice should never depend on who's standing there. Truth doesn't need embellishment. Truth doesn't need embellishment. Truth can stand alone. When the answers finally come, let the whole world know. We remember your smile, not only the headlines, not only the questions, but the life behind the name. May compassion lead the search, may honesty lead the way. Until the family has peace, we'll keep your memory alive. Somebody's waiting by the door, praying you'll walk back home. Every tear still calls your name. Love won't let you go. Hold on, till the truth comes into the light. Hold on. Somebody's waiting. Nolan.
That feeling when you're trying to build your credit.
What it do, guys? It's your boy, the Juice. And as you all know, my name is Troy Bradshaw, but I go by the Juice. Big welcomes, those of you guys tuning in. Welcome in, guys. I had to get on today. I mean, we were on all freaking day today. Actually, we did an 8-hour stream, almost 9, I think. We went to cover a gentleman by the name of Carlos Ramirez, who was shot and killed today. Police officer, a recruit police officer. So he was an officer becoming an officer for the Tucson Police Department. As you guys just saw just about an hour ago, we just finished up wrapping up that specific case. So go check out that video if you're interested in checking out that coverage that we did earlier. I will be back on the ground tomorrow to actually cover some more of that as well. Wow. What a day. It's been a busy one. And I had to get on tonight in honor of Nolan Wells here tonight as well. Let me turn my TV off. It's literally loud. I think someone left this TV on, so bear with me, guys. I don't want you guys hearing a whole bunch of TV noise in the background here. R.I.P. Nolan Wells. My heart goes out to Nolan Wells and Nolan Wells' family as well. Wow. So sad. I couldn't get it off my mind today. I couldn't put it beside me to not get on and wait till tomorrow. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I feel like this is my own son. Like, that's how I look at this situation. It almost feels like this is my son's birthday. That's how dedicated I am, not only to covering this, but just the situation itself. It's not hard to empathize and put yourself in his mother's shoes, Christine. If you are a father or you are a mother, it is really not hard. Nolan should have been 19 years old today. He should have been 19 years old. Had to get on and cover this today. And I actually had a very nice photo of Nolan as well. Just want to make sure I have this uploaded real quick here. Nice, beautiful pictures. Beautiful kid, good looking kid. You can say that when you're a parent, Glad to see you guys all tuning into today, though, for this coverage here. Nolan should have been 19 years old, guys. He would have been 19 as of the 19th of August. I had a few pictures up here that I wanted to take down, so bear with me for a second here, folks. I don't know why some of this stuff is just not going away. That's on my screen here. It's bothering me. Happy birthday, Nolan. Cannot say it enough. And again, like I said, I had to get on today because I could not put it beside myself to not stream in honor of Nolan Wells. Happy 19th birthday to Nolan Wells, who was, like I said, he's 18 years old. He was going to be 19 years old today out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Nolan graduated from Ocean Springs High School in 2025, just last year. He was a wide receiver at Southwest Mississippi Community College. So sad. So he's known as a tall, athletic, and close with his family. As a matter of fact, on July 3rd, the night before Nolan actually went missing, he had made a salmon dinner for his mother, actually. He hugged his mother, Christine, and left to stay with some friends for the holiday weekend. There's many ways that you can, describe, Nolan's personality as a child from his mother's interview and community statement just not too long ago. And Christine describes him as sweet, quiet, very, very polite. He truly loved, being outdoors, athletic from a young age, protective of his mother, not a troublemaker, Teachers described him as respectful and well liked. Family life raised primarily by his mother, strong extended family presence. One of the things that Christine mentioned too that I remember about Nolan is she said that, he always wanted to make sure that you felt welcome. He never wanted to, he never gave anybody the chance to feel left out, and that went for anybody. And I honestly, a good way that his friends had described him too was, one of the things that they had mentioned about Nolan, which I really liked, and it was also shown in one of the videos. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Nolan, there'd be people that he would come around that are bullied, and he wouldn't stand for that. He wouldn't tolerate it. And you saw in one of the videos, you saw Nolan actually breaking up a fight. But one of the ways that his friends described him that I truly admired and I liked was what he actually, not only did, but they described him as, perhaps somebody that came along the way that they didn't like. He would quickly change that narrative. He'd quickly change people's thoughts. One of the things that they said was, there was somebody in particular that, his friends, were not too fond of, that, some of his friends would say, look, I don't really like this guy, but Nolan would come around and he would change their thoughts and perceptions and go, I kind of like this guy. He's cool. Like he can hang with us, and those people you really can admire, somebody that doesn't really just take everybody's word for what they say. A lot of people, move off hearsay. Once somebody don't mess with that person, especially when it comes to your friends, people have a tendency to not just know, not even bother with a person because of what everybody says about that person. You can kind of tell that Nolan did his own thing. He was really truly, neutral. He was himself. And that's one of the things that I truly admired about him, that I took notice of, almost immediately. What a wonderful kid. And his mother described him, in many, many ways from what I've seen here. Not only was he raised primarily by his mother, but he was strong, he had a strong extended family presence, church connected community, no reports of, instability, violence, or behavioral issues. There's no public record of, even juvenile records. He's a good kid. School discipline problems, didn't have them. Medical issues, didn't have them. He was a very, very healthy kid. As far as we know, no substance issue. He had a really, really clean childhood, profile. Late childhood, early teen years, 2015 to 2021, he attended Ocean Springs public school. Played sports early. Football was his thing. It seems like, he also became, his own main identity, as coaches described him as a hardworking, coachable, quiet, but focused, natural athlete. Friendships had a small but tight circle of friends. Wonderful, wonderful kid. And he will be highly, highly remembered, respected. I want my kid, to share some of the things that Nolan carried amongst himself. His mother said he was always smiling and never disrespectful. Home life was very stable. He seems like he had a very, very supportive mother. His high school years he spent at Ocean Springs was 2021 to 2025. He played as wide receiver. And I wanted to see if I could pull up a picture here just so I could put that up on the screen in honor of, him playing sports because, I think when we reflect on, a lot of the pictures that we see of Nolan, and forgive me, I'm unprepared tonight because I was not prepared for tonight's stream. Otherwise, I would have had these pictures already ready to go. But I think one of the things that we truly can reflect on when we look at Nolan Wells is, his football. He was definitely a football player. You could tell he really truly admired and had a true passion as a football player. I mean, I think those are the majority of pictures that we see that help us kind of get to know Nolan and who he truly was. And I mean, I honestly I don't see this or say this about much kids that I do see, although I believe in and try to instill hope and confidence into all children who have a goal in life to achieve and succeeded. And one thing I think this kid had was not only was he gifted personality wise based on how he treated people, but I think this kid had a true gift when it came to football. I think this was the guy when it came to Christine's children that was actually going to make it for his family as an NFL football player. And I think we see that in the videos with Nolan Wells. He truly became known for his height. From what I remember, I think Nolan was about 6'1". He was truly known for his speed, soft-spoken personality, being the kid everyone liked, his academics. I lost my thought there for a second. Trying to recall what I was going to say here. As far as the academics go, he was, I would say, well on top as a student. I don't think that this kid had any grade issues when it came to his work in school. I think he was going to succeed academic wise as well. I don't really think a lot of and a lot of times, not a lot, but you'll see often, especially with African American kids, you'll notice that these kids are very good and they have talent when it comes to football, but they can't maintain academically. I see a lot of Black African American students struggle. I was on the way to work the other day and I heard a gentleman over the radio discussing academics amongst the African American children, and he was a teacher who spoke out and said, there was a student, very athletic, who could not even read a full sentence. And I personally don't even want to look up the statistics school-wise when it comes to academics, surrounding African-American kids. And I'm not trying to put our African-American people down. But I think I like to use people like myself that have failed in life and turned things around to succeed as encouragement to the Black community and every community, white, Hispanic, to simply do better. And if I could be an example of that, I definitely will be. because personally, I wasn't always the best in school. Dropped out a few times, turned it around, went back and graduated. But this isn't about me. This is about Nolan. Nolan wasn't the type to stay behind. He wasn't the type of guy to, leave you worried. Unfortunately, on July 4th, Nolan had went on a boat trip to Horn Island. Nolan and his friends departed from Mississippi coast at about 9:56 a.m. and they arrived on Horn Island around 11:14 a.m. And according to that GPS data from Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, he was last seen around 3 p.m. on the northwest end of Horn Island. Witnesses with conflicting statements say, some say at least, he was talking to a girl. Others say he was near a group almost involved in a fight. Others say they didn't see him near the boats when leaving. His friends left the island at about 4:31 without him. They told officials Nolan said he'd find another ride. That very same night around 11 p.m., a friend called Nolan's family. His mother reported him missing. And then the very next day, on July 5th, a massive search began. Many people joined in the search: Jackson County Sheriff Department, U.S. Coast Guards, National Park Service, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. The United Cajun Navy joined in on this search. Even helicopters, they had boats out there. Even drones had been deployed at some point in time. Even the weather cut the first day short. Supposedly this island was a relatively big island. I think they say it's roughly anywhere between like 11 and 14 miles long. Unfortunately, July 6th, Nolan's body was found. A National Park Service ranger found a body on the northwest end of Horn Island. Sheriff Ledbetter said no foul play was suspected at the moment. And then Christine Wansley, the mother of Nolan Wells, then confirmed later that day that it was her son. July 7th ended up coming as well. Then the autopsy plus Ben Crump was hired. Dental records also confirmed identity. Autopsy scheduled was, a DNA, which was pending. Family hired civil rights attorney Ben Crump to conduct an independent investigation. July 8th to the 15th, the investigation expanded. Family questioned whether or not Nolan would have voluntarily stayed behind. Crump had announced the independent autopsy. There was a joint inspection of Nolan's phone. All kind of things were going on. Push for release of an investigation records. They had FBI assisted with digital evidence review. DA Angel Myers confirmed that the case will go to a grand jury. Standard for suspicious death. Then July 16th came. We had boat audio that was released. NBC News obtained audio of someone the boat calling someone on the boat that, ended up calling a towing company because the vessel was taking on water. As we all, seen many things revolving around that specifically was a Bell's pump issue. And this also added to the public timeline. We know that the timeline changed 5 times, if not more, since the beginning that this whole thing started to unravel. July 2021, 20 to 21, there was a funeral. Not only that, there was a reward. Community gathered in Ocean Springs for Nolan's funeral. That reward was announced for information, which is $125,000. Cajun Navy had a report they released early August with GPS data, photos, social media posts, public tips. They highlighted conflicting accounts and gaps in the timeline. Law professors like Matt Steffi emphasized the report is not, evidentiary and requires verification. August 5th came. Nolan's mother had spoke out just to publicly shut down viral rumors about her job, which people out there, unfortunately, were trying to provoke her to lose by false reports, false allegations. And she clarified she's still employed by the grace of God and unfortunately still grieving. She thanked supporters and emphasized healing. August 14th, that came. Federal arrests had happened. Michelle Francine Edwards, Ohio, had her bond revoked for interstate threats connected to the case. And several other threats followed. No need to continue mentioning names. She was taken into custody, though, for failing to appear in court, specifically about the person we mentioned there. August 17th, there was phone forensics disputes going around. Crump's team demanded, immediate joint inspections of Nolan's phone. DA office asked to confirm locations and timings. Tragic situation, guys. It's unfortunate. I'm sure many friends have regret in this tragic situation when it comes to Nolan Wells. Hell, I regret it for him. But what I wouldn't regret for them is if they are responsible for what could have possibly, happened to Nolan, which we just haven't been able to quite get to the bottom of yet. Friends have continued to give conflicting stories. They've continued to put out interviews. One of those being the gentleman in the picture by the name of Warren. Tension has increased between family attorneys. August 18th, the DA's statement, they released a new statement stating that they weren't able to release, legally release details, that the DA would be present. Will present, a thorough case to the grand jury, and also she refused to bow to public pressure. She confirmed, the state autopsy is not released, and prayer rally was held on Nolan's birthday. As of current statuses, the state autopsy won't be released until we get in front of that grand jury, as we all know. Toxicology report obviously is showing that it's still pending. Although I think everything has been completed, we won't hear any details until we see this case in front of a grand jury. So as we patiently wait for the manner of death, everything so far has continued to remain unknown. But we know the grand jury is guaranteed and it will happen. Nola's mother released a statement just today, a little earlier today, in regards to Nolan's birthday. And she wrote a letter. It states, "Today you are 19. No. There are so many things we want to say, but we will keep it simple as we sit here and reflect on what an amazing kiddo you grew up to be. We can't help but to feel blessed, honored, proud, but most of all, thankful. Although you are no longer physically here with us, we will always celebrate you and the legacy you have left for us to protect. You have taught us so much about life and how every day is a blessing and how we have to do better at just living in the moment. Thank you for being the best son, brother, grandson, nephew, and friend anyone could ever ask for. Thank you for bringing joy, laughter, and real happiness to us each and every day. You are truly our angel. Raising you has been an absolute joy and honor. You will be missed every single second of every day, and you will never be forgotten, our sweet sunshine. Happy heavenly 19th birthday, No. Remember, don't eat too much Oreo cake and hug grandma for us. Mahal na, mahal ka namin, aming pinakamahala, nahanak a kapatid. Tagalog, English, we love you, our beloved son and brother. Signed, mom, dad, siblings, Loie, Ling, and family. R.I.P. Nolan Wells. That was hard to read. So sad. Wow. I almost broke down in tears right now.
Nolan Wells should have been blowing out 19 candles today, celebrating with his family, his friends, and his football teammates. But instead, his 19th birthday has become a day of remembrance. And for his loved ones, a day filled with questions, sorrow, grief, and uncertainty. Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmer Wansley, spoke about their son during a prayer vigil with their attorney, Ben Crump, and Reverend Al Sharpton. Here's what they said when they joined the live stream.
Nolan was an incredible person, and his loss has definitely affected our family in ways we could have never imagined. So I just ask that you all please continue praying for us, especially today.
His parents also wrote a birthday letter they never imagined they'd have to write, shared first with CNN. It reads in part, "Today you are 19, Nono. As we sit here and reflect on what an amazing kiddo you grew up to be, we can't help but to feel blessed, honored, and proud, but most of all, thankful. Although you are no longer physically here with us, we will always celebrate you and the legacy you have left for us to protect. You will be missed every second of every day, and you will never be forgotten, our sweet sunshine." But more than 6 weeks after Nolan Wells' death, during a boating trip, one big question still remains. What happened to him during the 4th of July? Authorities in Mississippi are still investigating and have given no public indication that a crime occurred. The district attorney says that the case will go before a grand jury, as is standard with any death that is not natural. The state's autopsy report is sealed, pending that review. And while
there has been a lot of controversy surrounding the text messages exchanged in between Warren and Christine, I was able to, get some of that information, which, I was able to get myself through somebody. So shout to the person who sent me those text messages that were received in between Warren and Christine. And it's about 4 screenshots that the, messages that have been exchanged. Nancy Grace goes off today. I can't wait to watch her video tonight. There's actually Brandon Tatum joins the show again. And he talks about some of these leaked text messages. Honestly, guys, I can honestly say I think it sounds like Warren did his part. We talked about, how the mother, the friend of Nolan Wells' mom, how, they might have approached the situation wrong when they went to Jack's house. We talked about how they busted in the door and things kind of went left all the way up to the point where cops were called and they had to escort, I want to say it was, Christine's friend off of the property. Everybody's stories have conflicted. Everyone's. There's even including, both sides, the moms, the dads, everybody's story to me has been conflicting. No one's stories are not, I just think there's things being left out. Now, the mom and the dad, they, for the most part, they're both of their stories have been pretty similar to one another's, obviously. But one person said something else and then more comes out, or something is left out and the other party's saying, or adding to it. Somebody's saying, no, this didn't happen. Somebody's saying this happened. It's just been going nuts. It's a he say, she say thing. It's been driving people nuts because no one can really put this thing together. Basically, this case has been theory and speculation. But I think there's a lot of facts in this case that we do have as well. It's just not enough to determine what really happened to Nolan by a long shot. We're not even close. In fact, we probably won't be until we get in front of that grand jury.
A Nolan Wells phone evidence torpedo.
2 confirmed witnesses that saw Nolan Wells on the island around 6 p.m. The Triton, as you said, left around 4:30.
What witnesses? Where? Who, what, where, why, and when?
I have not spoken publicly about this before, but I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells from a boat nearby. What I saw has stayed with me, and I believe it's important information. I have provided or intend to provide my account to the appropriate investigators because Nolan's family deserves the truth. Out of respect for the ongoing investigation, I won't speculate beyond what I personally observed. While I was on the boat near the area, I witnessed an altercation involving Nolan Wells and several other individuals. I saw what appeared to be an argument that escalated after there was a dispute involving Nolan's phone. I heard Nolan yelling for his phone to be returned. The argument continued after the group reached shore, and I observed a physical fight involving Nolan and multiple people. I also observed a young woman telling them to stop. At that point, I left the area because the situation had appeared to be getting worse. I did not remain long enough to witness what happened afterward. Everything beyond what I personally observed would be speculation, so I cannot honestly say what occurred after I left. Then she said she messaged one of the individuals that she saw, "Hey, I just want to say I was a passenger on another boat and I saw the argument between you guys and will go to the police with this information. I also have video footage. My husband doesn't show much, but it shows the argument that was taken and how you guys were upset at Nolan because of the young lady."
That from Secret Service Sam on TikTok. Okay, how is this helping the investigation? I'm trying to make sense of so many people online making comments. Now, if this is true, if there is a witness who has a husband with her on the boat and they took a certain amount of video, it could change everything, especially if the video is time stamped. Straight out to veteran trial lawyer, defense attorney Philip Dubé joining me. He's joining us out of LA, formerly in the public defender's office. They try a ton of cases. Philip, first of all, has she turned it into police? She said she was. If she hasn't, I give her no credibility at all. Look, I want this to be true. Why? Because I want the video. I want to see the timestamp on the video. I want to see, was he still on Horn Island at 4:30 when his acquaintances on the Triton boat left? I want that video. And if she hasn't brought this forward to LE, law enforcement, then it means nothing to me. I mean, if I know a young man turns up dead in the water, and I know there's a controversy surrounding this, I mean, we know she knows that because she's gone online and posted it, then why not hand it over to police?
Agreed. And it should go to the grand jury for part of their investigation. But I got to tell you, if I were cross-examining her, should this even go to trial, the first question I'd ask her on that 4th of July, what she had been drinking. Before that video got activated, everybody would want to
put him up.
Drinking and smoking. You know how many people were partying?
Okay, man.
Now?
Have you lost your mind? You defend criminal cases. I bet everybody you put on the stand has either been high, drunk, or worse during the altercation. Well, every witness is not a nun, a priest, or a virgin. Everybody on Horn Island was drinking, man. What are you talking about? I don't care if she took a drink. I want the video.
You want the truth, is what you want. You want the truth. And let's
and that would be the video. Yeah.
Remember, Nancy.
Okay.
Not consistent.
Brandon Tatum is joining us. So after all that, all you have to say is, was she drinking? That's your takeaway from that? Joining me is Brandon Tatum, former police officer, Tucson, now star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube, who famously has interviewed the acquaintances who all say they had nothing to do with it. Let's just put that out there. He's interviewed them extensively. I want to talk about not what you want to talk about, Brandon Tatum, which is they had nothing to do with this, because I met them and I believe them. So noted. Can we talk about a potential witness to an altercation? And she seems to suggest it was over Katie. Why? Don't know what the altercation was. Maybe it was, hey, leave her alone and get on the boat, or leave her alone, she's my girlfriend, or it could be anything. But if there is a witness placing Nolan seemingly in the water, I can't tell that, but having an argument with another person, a partier at Horn Island, that is significant. It could prove or disprove your friend's timeline.
Well, Nancy, I think that it's a big obstacle to climb here because I've never heard of this altercation whatsoever. Nobody that I've talked to have alluded that this altercation was real. And also Katie, whom I saw her text messages, she didn't even say this altercation occurred. What I will say is that if I was an investigator in this investigation, I want to hear that. I want to be able to compare that information to other things that we may have or other witness statements. But I don't think it's significant because it doesn't show.
All right. And first of all, as far as we know, I don't know about behind the scenes and all that, but as far as we know, Katie hasn't spoken to anybody. And first of all, Katie's sister spoke, not Katie. Let's backtrack real quick. What Nancy Grace was saying. She was saying that she disagrees with the fact that the mother hasn't given up the phone, and she sits here and acts like she doesn't know why, for the most part, or can't seem to find an understanding on why the mother hasn't given up the phone. I'll tell you why. Also, another thing, she's been very, very, quick to stick up for the mom for the most part, and, demand pretty much. She's been on the mom's side. I mean, she wants the best outcome for this situation, but she hasn't been necessarily biased. However, this is the first time I've seen her, second time when it came to the phone situation. And then originally I didn't understand it. Now I kind of understand it. So I'll tell you why she kept the phone. Well, it's easy. She doesn't trust the injustice system. We know that Nolan's mom does not trust the injustice system whatsoever. With that being said, she wants to make sure that somebody is literally hovering over the person that is going to conduct the, investigation when they look through this phone to find anything missing. Reason why is because, again, she does not trust the injustice system. So with that being said, she would like to make sure that nothing is deleted in this phone. She feels like in this specific case that she is not going to be treated fairly whatsoever. As they said when they did that press conference, that they want these people to come out, pick a time, pick a place, and simply get it done. They made that very clear. There was no 48-hour agreement for them to turn in Nolan Wells' phone. The agreement was what they clearly stated when they did that press conference. As we all heard the last time, we played it in the last video. That is why Nolan Wells' mother does not want to give up the phone. Will they meet her halfway and do that? I would hope so. I mean, from what I heard when I did my research, she has every right to do so. With that being said, going forward, let's get the ball moving and simply get it done. They have said that they would cooperate with everything in this investigation under a certain circumstance. Now, personally, I've said they have to, they're going to have to, they need to trust the injustice system. But speaking from my own point of view and my own opinion, I would trust the process and follow through with it, and then wait for the outcome. However, I am not Christine. This is Christine's son. She's in full control, as much as she can possibly be based on how this situation is handled. And I don't blame her for it due to the fact of her just simply being uncomfortable with how she's been treated throughout this investigation, how she feels she's been treated. I personally think that for the most part, Christine has been treating fairly. Again, when you start with the beginning of this case, when the sheriff department had came out and ruled this thing, or he didn't rule it actually, he said that there were no signs of foul play at this time. There are no signs of foul play for right now. Meaning, moving forward, we will continue to investigate and, try to get to the bottom of this to give everybody the final result on the specific outcome revolving around what simply happened to Nolan Wells. But everybody blew this up into thinking that the sheriff had determined this was actually foul play and they were going to wipe this right under the rug and move forward as if that's what this was. That's what kind of sparked everything for the most part. I'll continue here.
If Nolan Wells was actually killed in that altercation. She's claiming that there was an altercation between him arguing with somebody else. There was a potential fight, but that doesn't get me to how did he drown? How did he get in the water? And how did he not recover and come home to his family? So I would take that into consideration. I would compare that to the other interviews that I've done, but I don't think it's significant whatsoever. However, I would be incredibly skeptical because there's no other statements that I've heard from anybody that comes even close to an altercation with Nolan Wells and others over a girl.
Number one, he's dead shortly after an alleged altercation with another male. We think over a woman. See, in my world, I put together both circumstantial and direct evidence. Direct evidence would be, for instance, DNA or a fingerprint. Circumstantial evidence is the timing of the alleged altercation and his death. Right?
Nancy,
so
but Nancy,
it's hard for me to believe that there's some kind of altercation on Horn Island just before he dies. And they were not connected. That's hard for me to believe that.
Well, Nancy, she's not saying he lost the fight. She's not saying that he got beat up. If you look at the autopsy, there's no clear signs of blunt force trauma to his face or any of the vital areas that could kill him. So it doesn't appear that there's any indication that he lost a fight, that there was enough trauma in this particular fight that would lead to his death. And when you look at the autopsy, there is no blunt force trauma to his face. There is no lacerations or damages to.
DJ, what do you think that happened? I don't know if you were saying in the beginning that you truly know what happened, or you think that you have. I don't know what you had mentioned. I thought that was what you were saying. Just the other day when I kept asking about what the probable cause would be for if there was no crime, the answer in the state of Mississippi, if this is the type of situation undermined it. Big welcomes, Sandwich. She says, just the other day when I kept asking about what the probable cause would be for if there was no crime, I asked the same question. I don't know what probable cause they would have. They're not really saying what probable cause that they have to even get this to go in front of a grand jury. I truly don't know. I know that they have a whole lot of probable cause if this is going before a grand jury. I think I did go over some of the probable cause, but I can't remember if I did or not, and I can't remember specifically what that was. But there was a list of things that was able to that provoked a grand jury. I mean, they have to have some type of legitimate evidence, I think, to move this before a grand jury. So they obviously have something that's convincing this to roll over in that direction. Now, I don't know if that speaks to the fact that there was a homicide here or simply foul play. But from what I've seen, I mean, it seems like they do have enough evidence to move forward with this. If you're talking about probable cause when it comes to, making an arrest or pointing in a direction of a primary suspect, I have no idea how they're going to get there. That's my thing. I don't know how they're going to somehow pull somebody out and point the finger in that direction at a specific person to be able to say, look, man, this person's responsible for what happened to Nolan. How are they going to get there? It's my thing. Are you talking about So the autopsy is undetermined as of the independent autopsy, but we don't know what the ruling is on the actual toxicology. and the second autopsy, I believe. Grand jury are formed for all unknown deaths. I forgot the specific law, but it's for the state of Mississippi. Interesting. All right, let's continue this, and then I'll get back to you on that. Let's continue this
The
here.
back of his head. This is redness that was underneath the
Oh,
skin.
wait, are you
This is
looking
this
at
is
the
not.
screen? Because
This,
I'm looking at a big
I'm
red
looking at the
mark on
screen.
the back of his head.
Yeah, but this is underneath the skin. This is not a big red gash that's in the back of his head, which would be consistent with blunt force trauma. This is something that occurred underneath the skin that could have been from pooling of blood after
Yeah,
his.
but the thing is that red discoloration is not just nothing. That's the thing for me. How are they determining that red, what's making I'm not them, I'm sorry. What's giving some people, including Brandon Tatum, to jump to the conclusion that red discoloration that they see on the back of the head is nothing. I mean, and I get what he's saying, but also, I mean, has the throat and organs and the other things that they have kept been ruled out? I don't think so. I don't, and that might be something that they have that could be, proof of evidence that there was some foul play for all we know. I don't know what that is. I don't know where that's really going to take us, or it's just so decomposed that they aren't able to really analyze it and look deep into it. I don't know.
Due to,
Okay, I need to explain something, Brandon Tatum.
I'll let the experts talk about specifics, but it doesn't appear that
Okay, let's do
there is
that.
any
But I
blunt
want
force
everyone to
trauma consistent.
understand why Officer Tatum is here. Officer Tatum and Philip Dubé and others on our panel tonight are taking a particular side, right? It's called cross-examination, and it is similar to what happens in court. A theory emerges, a line of questioning emerges, and the other side tests it with fire under cross-examination. And then, hopefully, you get to the truth. Right now, we're talking about an alleged eyewitness to an altercation just before Nolan Wells is dead. If she has not handed this over to the police, it doesn't mean a hill of beans to me. But Tatum has a good idea, and that is, let's let an expert discuss it. To Joseph Scott Morgan, death investigator, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University. You can see him now on a hit podcast. It's on YouTube, Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. Joe Scott, if there had been not a...
I mean, I don't know how the rules go, DJ, when it comes to, the law in New York. I necessarily can't say that, though. The same thing could definitely very much so apply in New York than it does in Mississippi. I have no idea. As far as Sam, I mean, I think there's many reasons that can provoke a grand jury. It doesn't seem like that it really takes much. I mean, I think just the simple fact that they can't rule out foul play, to me, would be enough probable cause for them to go before a grand jury, which is, I don't know. That's just my thought on it. Nolan, he was left without phone keys. His friends left him on the island. There's a lot of things. There's incomplete timelines. There's, I mean, there's even racial context with the DOJ review to go with it, with the contradiction of, witness accounts. I don't know if those are signs of that are probable cause, but those are probable cause because these are not they haven't been like declared. So I would assume those are significant reasons to, provoke a grand jury. It was confusing because in AZ, a grand jury means they got a case and evidence to take you to trial. Yeah, I don't know, but that's what I think. I think that those are reasons that what, can get you in front of a grand jury. I don't know. Maybe there's other reasons that I don't know about, but I think those would be some of those specifically are reasons.
Blunt force trauma that Officer Tatum is describing, but a fist fight. If there had been a fist fight, plus body in water for multiple days, body decomposition, would you expect to see?
And just to sum it up, it's really just, let me flip over to my camera here. So it's really just, how can I put this in words? I'm trying to find the best way to put it in words here. It's really just, enough evidence to believe that a crime may have occurred. That's really all you need. From at least from what I've read before.
Red marks on the hands at that juncture, on the face. What would you expect if there had been a fisticuffs?
Yeah, you would see, well, first off, above discolored areas, like consistent with contusions. If there are facial strikes or just body blows, you can actually see abraded areas over the surface of his fingers, and these are very subtle sometimes. And if there is decomposition, which we believe there is, particularly per the second autopsy that was performed, he didn't make note of this. And can I go one more step with this? And this is kind of graphic, but people need to understand this. This physician that did the second autopsy actually did what's referred to as a coronal sectioning of the face. So there were multiple incisions made into Nolan's face in this autopsy, this second autopsy. And this guy didn't see anything. He didn't.
Right, and that's exactly what I'm saying. YG, yeah, every suspicious death goes to a grand jury. It doesn't mean that they think a crime necessarily happened, but in this case they do. So
didn't see anything that was of import, relative or indicative of blunt force.
Sam, just maybe shoot me an email.
Trauma, and I would think that if there was contact, particularly if he's fighting a group of people, these sorts of things, you're going to have injuries probably on the leading edges, or what we refer to as the blade of the arm, right here on the forearm, the back of the hands, the knuckles, those points of contact. And certainly if there's facial strikes going on with him, which we find with blunt force trauma many times with fisticuffs, as you say, you'll see these strikes, you'll see marks on the face. There's nothing to indicate that in the second autopsy. Now, what the state has, I don't know, but I do know this. I know they're saying they're done with the autopsy and that it's complete, which means the gross findings in the autopsy room, the tox, the histology, that means that autopsy report is complete. They just hadn't released their findings yet.
And speaking of that, Joe Scott Morgan, I've heard the same, that the autopsy is complete.
Yeah.
There are reports that there is no cocaine in Nolan's system.
Wow, where is she getting this report from? That's so crazy, because every time that I've done research on the autopsy, I am seeing that it's still pending. I don't really see any update that it hasn't, or that it has been completed. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong place to see any update on the autopsy, but I keep seeing it's pending, and then other people keep coming out, like news media outlets is saying that everything's been completed. They're just waiting to share the details once they get in front of the grand jury. But I don't know why online, when you do research it says that they're still pending. Maybe online is just late to update. I think sometimes it is, but I would assume that all of them are completed by now as well.
As uncorroborated reports,
Okay.
but a good source. No cocaine in the system.
Yep.
Joe Scott, when the body has been in the elements, such as the water, for that long, how can I confirm if he had been drinking or not?
Oh, you can still pull a BA, blood alcohol, or blood ethanol level, as it's referred to. And again, Nancy, we're not talking about someone that has been down for weeks and weeks. We can still do the BA, and it can come from urine, blood. We can still draw urine and find it pretty effectively. You'll have what's referred to as qualitative. We've talked about this before, and I know you understand that. But so our friends understand, you have a qualitative amount, which they say, yes, it is present. And then you have a quantitative amount where they do the measurement of the BAC, the blood alcohol content. Just think about DWI, DUI, wherever you're from.
That's big. I really yet to hear that. So I'm glad I really put on Nancy Grace tonight, because I really have not heard at all that, there was, whether or not that there was drugs in his system at all, at least for the cocaine part of it. Very interesting. Although I really don't think that would really matter. I mean, you can OD on coke, I guess. I'm not saying drugs in general don't matter, but I mean, the coke part of it, I don't know. I don't know why that one doesn't really hit me in a way where I felt like he would have OD'd on something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it. But it doesn't matter what I necessarily see. But personally, I just don't think that he would have died because of that. I think this was something else. But it could have been drugs, or it could have been a fight that just really got out of hand. Or like someone mentioned, I mean, Bart could have pulled up playing around and struck him in the back of the head or something like that. But you have to understand, Bart wasn't even present yet once I think he might have been already there. But I thought they had called Bart to come help them. So I don't know if Bart was hanging out on the island with these guys. It sounded like Bart wasn't there, and he had arrived to help them, which is the person that actually gave them a tow to get that water out of the Bell's pump, besides Cito. I don't know, though. Don't quote me on it.
Those levels, and then we get up to those lethal levels. That's really what I'm interested in relative. And yeah, I'm interested in any of the other toxicological findings you might have relative to anything illicit or illicit drugs. But
Sam, you could also text the phone number that I have here as well. You don't have to do email. The phone might be even easier or quicker as well. But I'll try to explain here along the way. Either way, once we get back to it. But Carolina says, according to AI, the first autopsy is sealed. Second said undetermined with no tox released. Right. Bart is 21 and has his own boat. Yeah, I know Bart is older. I just don't know if Bart was present on the island with them when they were partying. I don't think he was. He could have very much so been the person that supplied the alcohol, though. That's for sure. Linda says he drowned. He was not in an argument. I truly don't think he was ever in an argument. I think Tristan was being honest about that. Remember, Tristan came out and he said that he was the one who was arguing, not Nolan. Why would he come out and then, say it wasn't Nolan? Like, what would be his intent or motive to say, look, that wasn't Nolan, that was me? What would he be trying to cover up? The fact that Nolan was, got into a fight? I don't really see him doing that for no reason. Or for that reason. Nolan could have been caught off guard without self-defense, so no hands, bruising, or cuts. Possibility for sure. He could have definitely been struck in the back of the head. Another thing too, also, I mean, which they would have been able to reveal in autopsy, but being dark skinned, you don't really, bruises and things like that don't really show up on you very easily. I mean, you would have to get like something like a black eye for that to really, show up.
Particularly with alcohol, because that has been kind of this thing that has been said over and over and over again. Well, let me see it. I want to know what the blood alcohol level was like. And
You can OD on cocaine, for sure. I think so. I mean, we could look it up, but I truly think you could OD on cocaine. Yeah. Who's the girl that Nolan's with in this photo here? I think him and Katie had a relationship before all this, and I don't know if that's Katie, but you can see the girl's leg when Nolan's sitting here on the phone. I truly think that him and Katie definitely very much so had a relationship before they even went to Horn Island. But who's to say? I don't know.
Historically, I would like to know what his level of experience has been with alcohol. As you well know, because of cases you've worked on in the past, Nancy, if you're a lightweight, if you've never had anything to drink and you start taking on copious amounts of alcohol, and you're kind of a neophyte in this area, it can have very, very lethal outcomes.
Let me understand. Joe Scott Morgan joining us, star of Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan on YouTube and Death Investigator. When I'm asking you, even if the body has been in the elements for a period of days, can I still get a blood alcohol? Maybe not from urine, but you certainly can't do a blow test. But can you take human tissue from one of the organs and extract a blood alcohol from human tissue?
No, it'd be very difficult. Generally, the liver is the best candidate. We'll spin that down. We'll take a section of it, spin it down, and liquefy it. But again, I submit to you, Nancy, that he has not been down long enough to compromise the ability to get at least a quantitative amount. Yeah, to get a BA.
Okay. To Philip Dubé joining me, a veteran trial lawyer, defense attorney out of the LA jurisdiction. I'm not quite sure why you're so focused on who had been drinking. Let's take a look at the video. Let me answer that for you. Everybody was drinking. Okay? Everybody had a snootful.
Got that right.
Even someone drinking can see an altercation, Dubé.
No, of course you can. I can see that crowd of people out there. It was a bustling, hot 4th of July afternoon. But who's to say that the people that she saw included Nolan Wells? And that's why you got to get into her ability to perceive and recollect being impacted by intoxicants such as alcohol. I would want to know if she had imbibed. I really would. Not to mention, the autopsy findings thus far do not reflect any type of physical insults or injury to his body. At most, what you have are signs.
I'm asking you about your fixation on the witness having been drinking. Joe Scott Morgan has already addressed the body. I'm talking to you about the alleged witness.
Yeah. If she had in fact been drinking, I do believe, unless they really have a video showing him in HD quality, showing that he was in a fight, then I would call her ability to perceive, recollect, and even state that there was an altercation going on in her presence.
Brandon Tatum joining us, Officer Tatum on YouTube. I've cross-examined a lot of witnesses, and I cross-examined them exactly on that. How far away were you? Did you know the target? Were you familiar with them? Was your vision obstructed by anything? Were you wearing glasses? Were you wearing sunglasses? What time of the day? I mean, I could go on and on. But unless you have a nun, a priest, or a virgin on the stand, or maybe Angel Gabriel might come down and testify, you have to take your witness as you find them. And I'm sure you've had a lot of drunk witnesses in Tucson, to everything from a bar fight to a murder to a dope deal. Look, I'd say a good 50% of witnesses were drunk at one time or the other. That doesn't mean they didn't see what they saw.
Well, from a law enforcement perspective, this is not cross-examination on the stand. This is us. What I would deal with a witness is right on the scene, and I'm not too concerned of whether the person is drunk or not. I'm not going to test their
Hey,
blood
good morning,
alcohol level
Susan.
on the scene. I want to know specifically, what did you see? What are the identifying markers that you have to say that this is Nolan? If that person can describe them, maybe we'll do a show up. If we have like a video or a picture or something, we could show them and say, hey,
Yeah.
does this match the person you think that was here? Then we'll have a good
Exactly.
perspective. But there is a challenge here, because you do have to identify him. You can't just say it was a black man out there with curly hair and I think it was Nolan. You're gonna have to have some clear identifying markers that this is Nolan, and then you have to identify the people he was fighting with and the girl. And I think this person is gonna have a big challenge. I saw this text message. We reached out to the girl on her social media. She never responded to us. I don't know if she ever really sent it in to the police, but it is
Right. I couldn't agree more with your comment there. Is it khaki cats? I truly agree with that. And when you look at, we were looking at the picture the other day. When you look at that picture with Warren, I mean, look at him. He looks slammed. He literally looks slammed to me. And I was trying to figure out, when you look at that picture there, if he had a beer in his hand. To me, it looks like a beer along with, a Red Bull or something like that. I mean, but look at him. I mean, he looks completely done for it. He looks slammed to me. And I feel sorry for whoever, may have been letting it. I mean, I hope he wasn't driving the boat, but if he was, then I guess he was. But I mean, it's crazy too, because on a boat, you don't necessarily need to be able to drive straight, I guess, or straight fully. I mean, because obviously when you're on water, there's not like a whole bunch of traffic that you got to watch out for. You don't have street signs, like stop signs. You don't have, traffic lights that you got to tend to. So, I mean, it is, I would say, a little bit more safe, I guess. I don't know. I mean, they're on water, so maybe not. I mean, I wouldn't encourage it at all either way, behind anything that involves somebody driving to be under the influence doing. But these guys were all drunk, super slammed. Another thing is, you look at okay, so you got people, if you look closer to these pictures here, everybody's drinking. I mean, it seems like everybody's drinking. And if you're willing to take a beer in the water, I mean, you could obviously replace a beer. Why wouldn't you take your phone in the water, though? I feel like people would take their phone in the water, take photos, put their phone back in the boat. I can't call it. But when you look at some of these kids here that were in the water, I mean, you got a kid right there who is very much so, under the influence, drinking a beer. On that bottom left there, you got another kid in the water right there, just behind the gentleman right here to the left. First kid to the left of Warren here, drinking. And then the kid right behind him, he's got a drink in his hand. I mean, it looks like one of the girls in the back it looks like she does have a phone in her hand, but I can't really tell, so I don't want to say she does or she doesn't. It's so hard to say, but I bet we look hard enough. There's somebody out there on their phone in the water. Mind you, I mean, some of these phones, I mean, once you drop the water, once you drop the phone in the water, it's obviously gone. If you're not in a specific part of the water that isn't, waist deep. But for the most part, it seems like this is like chest deep water. I mean, most of this water that's coming up, it seems like it's at most of these people's chests. And some phones are actually waterproof. So I would say you'd be able to retrieve your phone. Perhaps you did drop it in the water there. But to me, it definitely much so looks like everyone is under the influence on this island. What's the point of going out here if you're not going to drink, I mean, even going to the left behind the dude, the second dude behind the dude we were looking at, far left, there's a girl in the corner over there. She's even got a drink in her head. Everybody's drinking.
It's problematic, in my opinion, if she hasn't. If you're going to say somebody is going to spend time in jail, or you are alluding to the fact they've committed a crime, and the fact now that we know that Nolan did not survive being out there at Horn Island, and you never submitted that to law enforcement, there's a potential that that's tampering with evidence. If you have evidence of a crime and you're withholding that from law enforcement, and you knowingly and intentionally are doing that, that could be very problematic for a person who claimed to be a witness.
No. Morally, it's wrong, but there is no duty under the law that you have to report yourself as a witness, that you have to volunteer information. You can stand on the side of a pool and watch somebody drown and do nothing unless you have a fiduciary capacity, and it's not a crime in our jurisprudence. So nothing is compelling her under the law to come forward. However, interesting, she did post it. She did identify herself. She did say she was going to police, and that would be my first line of cross. Did you take this to the police? And if she said no, all HELL break out in that courtfroom. If you have information like this and you don't go to the police, no, fur would fly. Fur would fly. You ever seen a dog fight? That's what I mean by that. Fur would fly. So that would be a line of cross-exam. Hold on, something else. Before I go out to Susan Hendricks, Jeff Shetler, and Ben Dobrin, now information that there is, in fact, a criminal investigation.
Hearing that somebody who has an inside source is saying the DA's office in Mississippi is now looking at the Nolan Wells case as a criminal investigation and no longer an accidental drowning. Now we can...
Wow. So remember, and that doesn't mean it necessarily is anyways, but so remember, initially we had heard that this wasn't even, being investigated as a possible homicide. Like they didn't have anybody that they were, interested in as a probable suspect.
Only pray that this is true. Obviously, we can't celebrate. We can't get excited at all because I have not seen Ben Crump announce this. It is not being reported by any other major media sources, but there are rumblings.
From Sam Crouppen. All right. I would like to point out that his source is a, quote, little birdie. Little birdies are saying that an inside source says the DA's office is now looking into the Nolan Wells as a criminal investigation. I can't put that up on the stand. Susan Hendricks joining me, investigative journalist and author of Down the Hill, My Descent into the Double Murder in Delphi. Susan, you get laughed out of court if your witness said, a little birdie told me, number one, that's hearsay, but a little birdie?
Yeah, exactly. It makes me wonder, did that woman, those text messages about some sort of altercation, is the grand jury analyzing this as we speak? Because finally the DA came out and said, look, I can't release anything that's going on, but let it be clear, and I'm paraphrasing, that we are investigating this with a grand jury.
Susan Hendricks, you're absolutely right. She states most recently, this is the elected district attorney, my obligation and commitment is to present the grand jury with all the evidence collected in the case in order for them to reach a decision based on a thorough investigation, complete evidence presentation, the actual truth, and an understanding of the law. I'm obligated to do so in keeping with the law and the rules of the court. She goes on to state, I stand firmly on the rule of law and my ethical obligation. That is what the people of Jackson County elected me to do. I will present the grand jury with a thorough, complete, and fair investigation into the death of Nolan Wells. Now, is there a criminal investigation? According to some sources, there is. We keep hearing there is no criminal investigation.
What's up, Diamond? Big welcomes here. Says that's me. What do you mean? You mean when I mention your name? This case is a mess for sure. Indeed, for sure. I don't know what you're saying. Somebody mentioned that all creators are lying. Lying about what, Linda?
Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. What is the truth of it tonight?
Gertrude,
Nancy,
how you doing?
it hasn't been announced that there's a criminal investigation, but it just stands to reason that they are doing a full investigation into the death of Nolan Wells. At this point, we don't have a cause of death, Nancy. They have not released the reports on the autopsy that was done by the state, completed weeks ago. We don't know anything. Nothing's been released. So whether they're doing a criminal investigation or not, I think it stands to reason they are investigating to every piece of evidence they can find to determine what happened and what they can present, they being investigators, to the grand jury.
Hi, guys.
All right,
Nancy
skip
Grace
this here. I'm gonna skip over to Nolan Wells. Excuse me, not Nolan Wells. To Brandon Tatum's.
Happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time.
All right, so we already watched this. Nancy is super late on some of her videos, some of the things that she does play, but we already watched that.
Things. What time and day? If you have a time and a date, you're out. We do.
And so if you're searching the incorrect boat, you have incorrect evidence.
To Brandon Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube, we just saw some video from your show. And I'm trying to figure out, among other things, what time and day, if you have a time and a date stamp on that, that seemingly shows the Triton with a lot of people on it, leaving the island, leaving Horn Island. Do you have a timestamp on that?
I don't have the timestamp. I can ask them to see if they can get it to me. When I watched this video and they presented it to me, this was during the time that the CETO call was occurring. So it had to have been right around that time. You could see Wyatt on the boat on the phone. And so this is how it was presented to me. And just to kind of answer your question about the boat searches, you know, it's partially irrelevant depending on the investigation and the interviews that they've done. There is no indication that there was a crime committed on any one of these boats. When you have 60 people that have already given statements to law enforcement, you have the young men that I interviewed that were on their boat that left the island, and then you have people that saw Nolan on the island after they had left. It's no indication that Nolan was on any one of those boats at any point in time and that a murder occurred on those boats. So regardless if they searched them or not, you know, it was offered up for them to use a cadaver dog, but that never occurred. And so I don't really think that the boat situation or search is significant. The boys submitted their Life 360, which is how they got a GPS tracking of when they left the island and how they got from point A to point B, where they docked and all of those things. So all of the information has been concluded, or at least have been explored, and it didn't appear that there was any foul play on any one of the boats.
Okay. Officer Tatum, I respect everything that you just said, but to have a witness tell me it's true because I said so, and because my friends say so, that doesn't mean it's true to me.
This is GPS.
It could be true.
They provided
GPS. That doesn't tell me what happened to Nolan. Just because they got GPS,
they provided Life
they
360,
came back.
Then this is how we're going to argue again? What do you mean we're going to argue again? We argued? So confused. Tell me how they know information. Lying, they have information, Juice. Oh, okay. Tell me they have information. Who said that? I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this. I'm sure Tucson Police Department got rid of him quickly. I don't know.
They provided Life 360. They provided the CETO call, and you can put those two things together and say, okay,
Tatum is a failed cop that had to be a rent-a-cop. Oh man, y'all wrong for that. Not that I know of. I don't know that Tatum was fired or anything like that. At least personally, I didn't see anything about him getting fired, but I don't know.
Before we get back to the show, I want to tell you guys about Shenergy. If you're tired of energy drinks that spike you, lean down with that and try. And you tell me that
All right, so real quick here, I'm gonna skip over here real quick here because Tatum's getting ready to talk about some of these calls. Or I'm sorry, did I say calls? That's how you know I'm tired. So not calls, some of these text messages, and like I said, I was able to get some of the text messages. I think a lot of the people that have the text messages, and ignore the address because the address was purposely fake for a reason. But I think these are legitimate, so you can put in the address if you want. I personally changed it to Florida myself, so that way, it doesn't, people aren't trying to look these people's address up. So I was able to put it in AI and change that. Thank God. So anyway, let me pull this up real quick here because there were some text messages that were. Let me make sure this actually fits in the screen. I got it on my X. I had posted this just the other day. Let's see if this is all in the screen here. So there were some text messages that were received or leaked by Warren and Christine, I believe. And I want to know what y'all think about some of these text messages that were sent out between the two. Let's kind of skip through some of these just so we can see where they kind of take place. We'll start with the one on July 4th. I might actually have them in order, to be honest. So I don't think any of them are starting on July 4th from what I saw, actually. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just make sure. But we can kind of just be everywhere with them. It don't really matter, actually. But if you look at these messages, it seems like to me that Christine was very much so in contact with Warren. Now, there's something in particular that I'm going to point out, though, that I thought was a little bit, it lines up with what they're saying, but they're not necessarily saying it. They were questioning the fact that the boys weren't telling the truth. So you could kind of see in these messages, but they pretty much assumed this off the rip. Not when they got there, to just get the keys and the phone back. By the way, I think Sam was asking, yeah, they were retrieved at the same place. I honestly think that they went back 2 different times. I don't know if they actually specifically ever really stated that. But anyway, we'll get there. So the message on July 5th, it says Nolan's dad is at the house to pick up the keys, blah, blah, blah. So it seems like they were already communicating for him to, or making arrangements for Nolan's dad to come pick up the keys. So they were communicating Christine as well as Warren. So it goes on to say, hey, Warren, what kind of sunglasses was Nolan wearing yesterday? He states, I'm pretty sure Ray-Bans, Miss Christine, very respectful. Obviously it seems like he's met her before enough to say Miss Christine, or maybe he was just raised to say it like that. So he says, hey, Miss Christine, just wanted to check in. We went out this morning to look, and I've been on and off the phone with Jackson County Sheriff Office today. Hey, you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. So it sounds like he was just trying to be helpful in every way, and simply just pretty much, making it clear that he understands that she's in a really tough situation, considering they didn't have no idea where Nolan was at. And at this point, it had been a day since he had gone missing. She just simply replies and says, thank you. And then Warren goes on to say, we are all praying for your family. And she simply keeps it short again and says, we appreciate it. So not only that, so it looks like later that very night, I want to say it looks like, I'm not too sure. You kind of see the one at the top. It says exactly where you saw him last night. I'm sorry, I was asking you to repeat this. So it looks like, let me see if this one actually shows up here. Hold on. No, it actually doesn't. I think Tatum actually has this one, so I'll let him show him in just a second here. So it looks like, though, when you read that top part of it, it seems like she had already asked him several times, like, yo, where did you last see him? You could tell she's questioning him to me, like she already is hinting that she thinks that he's not telling the truth. But why would you ask this? Maybe her mind was just going everywhere. I don't know why she would ask it twice. Maybe originally they could have spoken on the phone, which, kind of made Christine want to ask this question again, just to see if what he told her originally was lining up and he was telling the truth or lying. Is my reason why I would only ask somebody the same question twice. Or we spoke on the phone and I just can't remember, but I don't know how you would forget something like that, especially if your son is missing. So he states that he saw him 3 p.m. So he still has this time in his head. So before he even sat down and did this interview with Tatum, remember in the interview with Brandon Tatum, he did state that he saw him at 3 p.m. north side of Horn Island. She says, where did you guys launch from? He says, we launched the boat yesterday evening and left from here this morning. And I think she's just asking, where did they launch from? Where did they take off, to go out to this island to search for Nolan, to maybe see if it aligns from where they originally launched when they went out on this trip. Or I think Christine and them were trying to track down the boat, because remember when they got there, they were like, let me see the boat. Where's the boat? As I stated, they busted into the home, like demanding to, see or to get answers, and it was kind of not a good move on their end. I don't like the way they kind of bars into the house, but at the same time, I get it because, the mother's grieving. She's got a lot going on. So anyway, we'll skip here. So fast forward, she says that Nolan's dad is at the house to pick up the keys. She says, hey, Warren, what kind of sunglasses was Nolan wearing? He says, I'm pretty sure Ray-Bans, Miss Christine. I don't know why he answers to her like that. He says, hey, Miss Christine, just wanted to check in with you. We went out this morning to look, and I've been on the phone with Jackson County Sheriff Office today. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we read this one here, but it doesn't sound like this is somebody who possibly could have murdered somebody. But then again, if I want to make it look like I didn't murder somebody, this is the type of stuff I'm going to do. I'm going to go, beyond the necessary extent to reach out and, make sure that the family's doing well, or, make it look like that I'm, still my normal friend that I am to Nolan that he claims to be. He says he's a brother to Nolan. So he states that he was often on the phone with them, blah, 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 blah. She says, what is the make and model of the boat you guys were on? So it seems like Christine is really trying to figure out what type of boat they were on. Like they're trying to, track this boat down. Like they were just trying to, I think it sounds like Christine and them might have just had a plan. Like, no, we're just going to, you guys go there. Y'all go check that boat. I believe that Nolan is on that boat somewhere. Because remember, they went to the island, they went to go check to see if Nolan was on this island, but after a short period of time or several hours of searching, his dad was, at conclusion, like, look, I don't think he's here. Let's go. Like they had a plan in their head, like, nah, he's not there. They got it. Like they have him at their house somewhere, and I think that they could have him like covered up on the boat or maybe in their house somewhere. Trying to hide his body is what they may have assumed. I thought that they assumed the worst. I mean, I think that's what they're giving to me by the way that they acted, going forward in this whole thing, period. Or just how it kind of started, from just these messages before they even arrived at Jack's house. So, Warren explains right here. He shares the type of boat that he's on. He's on the 22 Triton. He said Nolan went out on the 22 Triton. Sorry, he says, offshore, I was on a 24 tide line. On the way out, we were on separate boats. I went back on the Triton DMR, he says, and the sheriff office has all this information also. What? Like, he was already somehow hinting that she wasn't buying his story. Or, he was just like overwhelmed with like her asking the same question twice. Like, why would he even mention that? Like, I don't get it. Unless just to let her know, like, no need to even tell him, she was the one who's going to report all this herself. Mind you, I mean, supposedly according to him, he did report this. I don't know if it's been confirmed that Warren actually reported this. I think it was actually. I'm not too sure, but they have it now. I can't remember if he did state that he stated that they reached out, but I don't know if it's been yet to be confirmed that he really reached out. But I think he did. I think he's telling the truth. But anywho, looking at these messages, I'm already under the impression that these guys, that they're not, that she thinks that they're not being honest. And you could also tell, and I don't know what time they went to Warren's house, but you could most definitely tell that Christine wasn't buying their story off the rip. And I don't know if this is the point. No, because they were misled once they got there about the keys, and the phone. So, I mean, I just don't think Christine was feeling it. She smelled something was up, or she smelled the fact that they thought that, Nolan was never on that island, that they took him somewhere and like dumped his body or something. I have no idea. But anyway, I'm going to skip out of this here. I'm going to play this thing with Tatum here. He has, I think, some of the text messages that I wasn't able to see the other parts of. But I think for the most part, they're the same. So let me see if I can pull this up real quick here, chat.
Warren Hudson murdered her son. Now, just so you guys know, Warren initiated this phone call and communication with Christine Wells. He called her the night that Nolan did not come back like they expected. He asked her, is it okay if I call the Coast Guard? They had a short communication, and he calls the Coast Guard. He told me in the interview that we interviewed him on that he told Miss Christine that he had Nolan's phone and keys. That's what he said he told her. Now, if you done kill somebody, 9 times out of 10, you ain't talking to their mama. But listen how the conversation went, though. I'll read them to you. Warren, where's his car? I think, what is this, on the 4th? This is on the 4th at, let me look over here, because at 11:15 p.m. Warren, where's his car? At Jax's house. Where is that? Can you send me the address where you guys launched? Yes, ma'am. He goes on to send her the address. What was the last time you saw him? He said 3 p.m. and sent her to the actual location. That don't seem like somebody that's trying to obstruct or hide something. What happens next? What was he wearing? Black shorts and sunglasses. Now, in the interview, he told me that he thought they were black. We see now that it's blue. He said he thought it was black shorts. Can you call, I guess that's the lady at DMR. He says, on the phone with Coast Guard now. I will after, yes, ma'am. They're communicating. If she had a question or a concern or what, she could text it to him right here. He's responding to her, yes, ma'am. Can you call DMR? Yes, ma'am, I will. I'm on the phone with the Coast Guard right now. On the phone with the Coast Guard doing what? Trying to coordinate them to look for his friend Nolan. She don't say, she's not, this doesn't sound like, this some random kid. She says, thank you so much. We have to file a missing person report. So one more time, tell me exactly where you saw him last. I'm so sorry. I am asking you to repeat this. It does not seem like she got a problem with him. He says, no problem. 3 p.m., west tip, north side of Horn Island. Where did you guys launch from? He sent her another ping of where they launched from. Told her exactly where he saw Nolan and what time. Okay. He said, we launched the boats yesterday evening and left from here this morning. Does this sound like a kid that trying to cover up a murder? Giving her exactly where you launched from? Giving her
You know, it's funny to me how Tatum, and again, this is kind of explains how Tatum is lying. It's funny to me how Tatum said he's seen pictures, he's seen text messages and whatnot. Yet he took this photo here from the girl who you can clearly see who made sure her name was on it, that, you know, put Sarah censored or whatever it says. But yet he has text messages and he couldn't just get these text messages directly, plus more from Warren, and get his permission to share some of these messages to make more sense of what's going on. So Tatum, I you know, I ain't gonna do you like that. You're lying for sure. You lied. You're not lying. You lied about that. I don't think you have what all you said you have, or I don't think you've seen what all you said you've seen. Because I mean, he would be the guy to be able to, you know, be able to get more information when it comes to text messages or not. Yet, not only that, he would be the guy to be able to confirm to the world whether or not these text messages are legitimate. And this is who should have been, you know, posted. This, you know, should have been able to come out and, you know, post this stuff, but also share a little bit more, expand a little bit more on some of these messages. But what he is not understanding is the fact that she asked him more than once about where they, you know, just pretty much to simply ask his story again. To me, it just doesn't really seem like she was taking his word for it. And you can clearly see that by some of the responses in these messages. You know, specifically, and I'll bring it up here. Let me just pull this back up because I want to go back to that message I was looking at here. Hold on. And the fact that he doesn't even question anything, I mean, you know, he's definitely highly respectful of Nolan's mom for sure. When he made that statement, when he says the sheriff office has all this information also, I don't know. I sense him to be a bit overwhelmed himself. And he could have just been overwhelmed overall because of, you know, the fact that he's got a friend out there that is possibly dead. At this point, they don't even know if he's dead or not, but missing, and they have no idea what happened to him. But then again, maybe not, because he doesn't really seem very stressed after the fact when he's doing these interviews. So I don't know, guys. I don't really like the way he's responding here, at least on that particular part, when he states something about the sheriff having all the information. Whether they do or they don't, I mean, she's still going to relay the message to the sheriff department because, hello, she's going to have to be the one communicating with them, not you. But anyway, let's go ahead and skip through.
Exact locations. Here we go again. It says Nolan's dad is at the house to pick up the keys. Warren, it said Jackson's house, not Warren's house. But she told him Nolan's dad is at the house to pick up the keys. Hey, Warren, what kind of sunglasses was Nolan wearing yesterday? I'm pretty sure Ray-Bans, Miss Christine. Then he goes on to say, hey, Miss Christine, just wanted to check in. We went out this morning to look, and I've been on and off the phone with Jackson County Sheriff's Office today. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. Do I quit the show now or what? What are we talking about? Why is it that when they're having this conversation on the 4th and the 5th, that in the media, Oh, these boys didn't even care about him. These boys didn't go searching for him. These boys deleted stuff out his phone. These boys did all this other stuff. These boys didn't kill him. But the communication on the back end looks like this until Benjamin Crump gets involved. Okay, let me continue. She says, thank you. We are all praying for your family. We appreciate it. What is the make? Go back. What is the make and model of boat you guys were on? What does he do, y'all? He says, Nolan went out on the 22 Trident offshore. I was on the 24 Tide Line on the way out. We were on separate boats. I went back on the Triton. DMR and the sheriff's office have all this information also. Then why you get out there and get on there and put a picture of all these boys on the boat? They were last seen with them. He said he didn't even ride on the boat with Nolan. All right. It's a lot to read, so let me try to read this real quick. He says, hey, Warren, can you collect any of Nolan's items left at Jax's house? It looked like there was a duration of time between that text and a response, which was the 20th when we were in Mississippi on Nolan at Nolan's funeral. And this is what what Warren wrote Miss Christine. Good morning, Miss Christine. I just wanted to let you know that my family and I have been praying for you and your family. Nolan was one of my best friends since we were in 8th grade together. You and Mr. Elmore raised one of the best men I've ever met. I wish that I could be there today, but I would never want to take the attention off of your family and Nolan and be a distraction. Thank you for being the best parents that Nolan could have. Now, does this sound like a deranged white racist that killed a guy that wasn't even his friend? But yet he's saying he's praying for you, and yet he explained exactly why he didn't come to the funeral. But you don't put that out in the media. You don't frame it like this. You let the world eat these boys alive. He told you exactly why he didn't go to the funeral. You let everybody get out there and say all these things about your son's friends. And I heard a lot more about Christine, and I'm not going to publicly say anything about it. But I heard a lot about it. Somebody gave me a whole rundown of all this stuff. And I do not understand why this had to be about race and it couldn't be about a community coming together to find out what happened to Nolan. It's a shame. It's a shame. And the part that makes me upset, because this injustice that has happened in part is perpetuated by black people. I hate to see black people acting like this. The world is laughing at you and you are being mocked by the world because this is illegitimate and irresponsible from the world's perspective. To put some young 18-year-old kids out there and letting them get death threats and won't even correct the script. Won't even say, I spoke to Warren, he seemed like a good kid, y'all lay off of these boys. There's no reason for my son to be gone and these other boys to be, y'all be threatening lives.
See, and that explains my point. And yeah, I agree with his comment right there. Listen to that again.
Possible from the world's perspective. To put some young 18-year-old kids out there and letting them get death threats and won't even correct the script. Won't even say, I spoke to Warren, he seemed like a good kid, y'all lay off of these boys. There's no reason for my son to be gone and these other boys to be, y'all be threatening lives. They had nothing to do with it so far. We have no evidence that Warren had nothing to do with it. I've been in communication with Warren.
Again, and that proves my point. She was already under the impression that she was not buying these boys' story. Anytime somebody, most likely 9 times out of 10, just like a police officer asks you, unless they got a whole lot going on at once, and at the moment in time you were trying to tell them something, they weren't really paying attention. Anytime they ask you to explain your story again and tell them what happened or where's the last time you seen them or whatever the question is, that to me is implying that they're not buying your story. And again, I think Christine's so-called quote-unquote friend, who is Javon's mom, is what kind of not necessarily twisted their heads up, but had them really thinking and maybe overthinking it a little bit due to the fact that they weren't telling the truth. Now, do I think the boys are telling the truth the full truth? No. Do I think that they may be responsible for what happened to Nolan? Maybe. As of right now, do I? I don't know. I still can't say. Do I think that something could have made went wrong and this could be a cover up because they're afraid of what the outcome could be, knowing that they don't think that anybody's going to believe their story? It's a possibility. Where am I leaning right now with this case as we stand today? As where I've been at, the fact that this is possibly a drowning, because none of the evidence that we have points to the fact that this is a homicide at all whatsoever, at least so far. But again, I think Javon's mom, not only, first of all, she had Christine had his mother go pick up the keys. Okay. These keys were on the mainland of Ocean Springs in the Biloxi area. So, they were in a different place in the phone. Originally, I thought, so let me debunk that and correct myself. Originally, I thought the phone and the keys were in the same place. However, they were not. So his keys were also with his friends. So they were both with the friends. Christine said Nolan's phone, keys, and wallet. So they were all with the group of friends who left the island, not with Nolan. So this is why the Judge Mathis and multiple civil rights leaders said that the situation is highly suspicious. Nolan had no phone, no keys, no way to, call for help, and no way to leave the island, which is very suspicious, right? At least when you put it like that, it is. So Nolan's phone was found. It was not on Oran Island, obviously. It was with the group of friends who left the island. Christine tracked the phone with Life 360, and the family friends went to retrieve it from the friend on the mainland. So after Christine got the phone from the family friend, I think shortly after that is when they went to Jack's house to get the keys back. Now, as far as where they got the wallet, I don't know. I do know Christine was asking Warren to get all his belongings, if he had any other belongings there, and give them to her, because she wanted to retrieve all that. Now, I do know that the car, supposedly, according to the dad, when he mentioned this stuff, the car was at a completely different place than where the keys was at. Now, he didn't really state whether or not that's suspicious at all, or, if that's likely for him to do. And just like he's saying, she's not really even, saying, look, I don't think that they're being honest. She, when she first came out, she was really saying that she was being mistreated. Like, based on how the investigators were handling this case, she wasn't really quickly she never really quickly judged anybody, or tried to hold anybody responsible for what happened to Nolan. But she was hinting that to me, why? Because of the way not only these text messages are, but the fact that these boys said that they reached out to her and yet they've got ignored. Even the guy that goes and leaves his car there, which is Tristan, was ignored as well. And even the father stated, he said, just because somebody leaves their car at your house does not mean that you communicate with them or you necessarily know them. No, but the real answer would have been you do know of them. And that's what you could do, at least give these boys that. You don't have to, completely just dismiss what they're saying by ignoring them. And you could see the hurt in Tristan's eyes when he had mentioned that. And I kind of hurt with him too. I mean, at least they could be honest, and somewhat as adults meet these boys halfway, to give more clarification based on the relationship that they may have. But no, she says she's never heard of Tristan. Yet, Tristan mentioned, which I believe he went to, another state with Nolan. They had went on a trip together. So if you're aware of where your child is going and you're responsible like an adult should be, you're going to know not only where they're going, give them approval to go, but you're also going to know who they're going with. So the fact that they didn't really know Tristan at all, I don't know. But she didn't really necessarily say she didn't know him. What she said was, it's a little bit over exaggerating for the most part for him to call Nolan his best friend. And I think it's quite funny. Maybe it's some type of saying in Mississippi when they refer to their friends, but I think it's quite funny how mainly all of the friends say that he was like a brother or they were best friends. But the only one that he appears to be close with is Javon. What's also funny is Jax really, he kind of mentions their friendship and describes him as a brother, but it seems like more so it was, Tristan, Warren, and Javon who mentioned that they've been close to him. But Jax was able actually to elaborate on the type of person that Nolan was. Warren wasn't able to do that until someone was next to him talking about it, which was weird. So it looks like, it seems like Jax maybe has a better relationship maybe than Warren and Nolan. I don't know, because Jax was able to kind of describe what kind of person he was. Warren didn't really describe that much. He kept referring to like a group. Remember in that first initial interview, he kept referring to like a group of friends, like as if he only hung out with Nolan when he was around a certain group of friends. It was really weird. I just don't personally think none of these guys are literally like best friends. Besides Javon, I've already told you guys that. And it's hard to believe the dad because some of the stuff that he's saying, he's mentioning stuff that occurs, but he's also leaving stuff out at the same time. I just don't think he's being really honest about everything. And for the integrity of the case, maybe that could be why, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling it, man. I'm not feeling some of the story that the parents are giving to us, but they don't have to. They don't owe us a whole entire detailed little by little explanation. So at the same time, I can't hold them to it. But I don't know, chat. I don't know. I just don't. I'm not buying anybody's story in this case fully is what I'm trying to say. There's nobody that I necessarily believe fully that I haven't felt like hasn't really told the honest to God truth. And we saw it the other day when we were watching TikTok. The woman didn't really give a very descriptive, detailed story when she went to the house to get the keys back. So she says, or she didn't even state that she was there to get the keys. The father was there to get the keys. She was talking about how she was sent to get the phone, but she never really says, and maybe we should pull this interview up. She never really says how everything really went down. Like when we listened to her, which somebody posted on TikTok, which is, I'm talking about the friend of Christine. She doesn't really share all the details. It's just way more details, when we listen to this call or whoever she may have been interviewed with versus what she told reporters when she sat down with Javon and was talking about her experience that she had when she went and got the phone back for Christine. So I don't know, but I think this lady was already under the impression, Christine's friend, that they were lying. I think she put this in Christine's head that they were lying. I think she was a big possible reason why they were led to believe that Nolan was not on the island, which is why they went straight to that house. It seems like they did to demand not only where the boat was at, but also, the fact that she broke into the house. She didn't say any of that at all. I don't know. It ain't sitting with me well at all. And I should play this clip real quick, but I'm gonna go ahead and actually, yeah. Let me see if I can find that clip. Actually, no, we won't. We'll wait on that. We'll wait on that because I'm running out of time here. I'm not going to be on too much longer here. Hold on, chat. Let me actually look at chat. Let's see what chat is saying while I was ranting away here. When was he last seen the Jews? What city? What do you mean, what city? I don't know. My son just got up out of nowhere. He looks like he was about to leave and take off in the car or something. Anyways, he's only 2. No, he closed the door. He's probably scared to go outside by himself into the living room. He was last seen on Horn Island, from what I heard. Warren says he was believed to last see him around roughly about 3 o'clock.
One question, y'all. Who is this laying on the floor of the boat? Who is that? Kind of look like a melanated person? I don't know. Could be the lighting, could be the shading. Everybody's just trying to figure out what happened in this Nolan Wells case. So my question to you is, who is this that is on the floor of the boat and everybody is chilling all around like it's just a normal day on the water? Get in the comment section now. Subscribe to Uda On Go, YouTube, TikTok.
That's weird, though. I really find that weird. A lot of people have pointed out the fact that people were kind of noticed some of these people were kind of standing around the boat, but no one's really center in the middle of the boat, and it does almost look like that might be Nolan's head along with his body laying down on the boat. Very, very odd picture. Matter of fact, it might even call for us to maybe even zoom in on this one here. Hold on, chat. Let's zoom in on this one here. That looks like Nolan laying down, dude. And I don't know if this is AI generated. I don't know. So don't quote me on it, but it does look like that's Nolan's head. He's kind of got a little afro, and it looks like he may be laying down, but it could very much so be mistaken for something else. Really, really weird. ATL, what's up, ATL? Big welcomes. Not gonna lie though, that does look like that could possibly be him laying down. Bruce, how you doing, man? Big welcomes, Bruce. All right, let's continue here though. That does look like that could be Nolan laying down, man. That's weird. Gives me the creeps.
Wait, text messages were just released between Nolan's mom and Warren that can answer a lot of questions. And I'm gonna go through these text messages one by one. You tell me, did it look like somebody like Warren is trying to hide something, or does it look like he's being a true friend? Now, first of all, I thought that Nolan's dad showed up unannounced as the way, Warren and them told the story. Here's a text message, July 5th, 2 in the morning. Nolan's dad is out the house to pick up the key. Remember, he was trying to get the key from Jax. He said Jax couldn't find it, or it was taking forever. Then somebody else found it, and he didn't trust Jax after that. So then here's the next one, that day.
ATL, maybe elaborate more. I'm not too sure what you're referring to as far as what I'm repeating.
In the afternoon, hey, Warren, what kind of
said a lot.
sunglasses did Nolan wear? I'm pretty sure Ray-Bans, Mrs. Christine. This is Warren. Then Warren says, hey, Mrs. Christine, just wanted to check in. We went out this morning to look, and I've been on and off the phone with Jackson County Sheriff's Office today. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. She says, thank you. Warren says, we are all praying for your family. We appreciate it. Then it gets deeper. Now, right here, she asked Warren what boat he was on, or what boat Nolan was on. He says Nolan went out on the 22 Triton.
All right, so we read all this. I just wanted to see what that video was about. Linda says, you said you left me a call? She was sleeping. He had to call back. Oh, is this a screenshot of the call? Oh, and this is from Officer Tatum. So he did do some posts. Okay. All right. Let me be quiet then. I didn't know Tatum even posted anything. I don't follow him on social media, but I didn't think he posted anything. Okay. All right. Okay, Tatum. Okay. All right. Let me back out here real quick. By the way, the girl, Pink something, I can't remember her name. She lost her account, by the way. The girl that's been good at sharing information, Nerdy Pink Panda. She lost her account, by the way, chat.
You guys are seeing this. They banned my main account. It just happened. Yep. Well, if you guys are seeing this, they banned.
Tragic, and it's showing that's as of 2 days ago. Sad. I mean, she's pretty good at digging up some information, I'm not gonna lie. So she could definitely very much so be a threat. At least to some people. It's just like on a ghost adventure, you see what they suggest. That's what it seems like. Where is Katie? I don't know. I think Katie's just flying under the radar for right now, playing it safe. And she's doing smart. I mean, by not putting any information out there, because she knows exactly what's going to happen if she does. She's going to be criticized like no other. Yeah, I have no idea what the ATL person was talking about, though. I was trying to figure that out. She has said, "Oh, okay." I was like, "What?" I'm so confused. I thought she was coming at me like I did something. I'm like, "Oh no, we done really made somebody real upset in chat right now." All right, let's skip through this here real quick here. I wanted to play a couple videos from TikTok. I gotta be real careful here because some of these videos have like nothing. Some of these videos have music I don't want to get copyrighted for. So bear with me here. I had a couple videos I want to play. But bear with me. What is this? Some of these videos are fake too, so I got to be careful here. She's giving me a hard time. Hold on.
What did we just hear? What was that? One more time, please.
Our village farm, it's coming up. We're just
heard this. I thought, has this?
It's not what I'm looking for. All right, let's run it.
Y'all hold on, because this Snapchat detail might be the biggest question mark in the NOLAN WELLS case. Because if this...
Oh my God, okay.
NOLAN WELLS update. I'm so perplexed. I'm so confused. Is anybody else out there in TikTok world confused just like I'm confused? Because when did Nolan's family become the people who weren't part of the investigation? What? This family has gone through utter hell for the last 6 weeks plus. They've lost their son. Have zero answers. And somehow this has been perpetuated as if wait, what is going on? Because the mom won't turn over the phone while she was on vacation, and because she specifically requested there be a third party mediator because of so many different suspicious circumstances behind her son's death. And y'all are perpetuating the narrative that she's non-compliant? I'm so confused. She said she'd give up the phone. She was on vacation. How do you formulate and change the narrative as the mom is guilty of hindering justice.
If there is,
I personally don't even care what Christine was up to or doing, whether or not she's on vacation or not. She doesn't have to have any excuse as to why, she hadn't given up the phone in 48 hours. If she's already implemented the fact that she has a third party hired on her behalf to make sure that this investigation, rolls over and in the way that she wants it to, and the fact that she's doing every bit of that, as far as what she can do on her end, that says everything beyond a lot as far as how, this is going to be able to go, or this is supposed to go. And she's using all the power that she possibly has to be able to make sure that everything is handled smoothly or handled correctly. I don't see what the big issue is, and I don't know why people can't understand that.
a witness who has a husband with her on the boat and they took a certain amount of video, it could change everything, especially if the video is time stamped. Straight out to veteran trial lawyer, defense attorney Philip Dubé joining me. He's joining us out of LA, formerly in the public defender's office. They try a ton of cases. Philip, first of all, has she turned it into police? She said she was. If she hasn't, I give her no credibility at all. Look, I want this to be true. Why? Because I want the video. I want to see the timestamp on the video. I want to see, was he still on Horn Island at 4:30 when his acquaintances on the Triton boat left? I want that video. And if she hasn't brought this forward to LE, law enforcement, then it means nothing to me. I mean, if I know a young man turns up dead in the water.
So, this photo of Nolan Wells' best friend, Warren Hudson, has gone viral. Clearly, Warren looks drastically different from July 4th versus now. I'm sure a lot of you will say, 'cause he's stressed. Well, hell, isn't everybody else stressed? How about Christine, the mother? How about the father? How about Nolan Wells' little brother? I'm sure everybody.
I don't know who made these pictures here, but look, this just goes to show you how they fake this shit. They forgot to make his fucking shorts the same color over here they were. You can't make this shit up, y'all. They forgot to change the boy's shorts. It's the same, supposed to be dude. See the little red bead necklace, same white hat. They forgot to.
Exactly why you got to be careful where you get this information online.
The girl that Nolan Wells was allegedly with is speaking out, and there's some.
I have not altered this video.
Y'all, hold on.
We just want justice for our children, and he said
exactly. And I don't think race baiting is real. People just say that to downplay these horrendous crimes that are being done. It's one-sided. It's like when people say don't play the race card, you know?
They want us to shut up. They want us to shut up and say, you know what? I don't care what happened to you.
Yep.
Shut up. You probably deserved it.
Exactly. That's what it is. They say don't play the race card, but, that they're the ones doing racist things. So it's like, okay, well,
I won't play the race card if you just leave me the fuck alone.
Exactly. Oh, Lord. That's what it is.
Oh my God, Nolan. These will all be. Oh my God, Nolan is holding his phone here. His mom and dad is right. He would never leave his phone behind. Oh my God, Nolan is holding his phone here. His mom and dad is right. Oh my God. These will all be. Wait. These will all be stories someday, and our pictures will become old photographs. We'll all become somebody's mom or dad.
Ben Crump, as well as people down there in the state of Mississippi that's supposed to be investigating what happened to 18-year-old Nolan Wells down there on Horn Island on July 4th. Then we all see them come out and say, hey, we've reached an agreement. 18-year-old Nolan Wells' parents, they'll hand over the phone, and also they'll have a private investigator or somebody in between to be in the middle of the investigation that goes on with the phone. And wasn't everybody in agreement with that? Wasn't everybody saying, okay, cool, that's what's going to happen, let's do it? So why all of a sudden the switch? Why all of a sudden the change? Why all of a sudden with the district attorney or the prosecutor, whichever one, ends up sending over a letter to 18-year-old Nolan Wells' mom and say, hey, you got 24 hours to turn over that phone? Wait a minute. I thought that there was an agreement with this phone that y'all would go over that phone.
Wait a minute. Lows or laws? The first one or the second one? Lows first, laws second. I might be still saying that wrong. Much love. I appreciate the $5 super chat. It says, good morning, Juice Mods and chat. I'll be listening back from the beginning. I hope everyone has a traffic Thursday. Thanks for covering Nolan Wells. Much love. No need. You didn't miss nothing. Just me honoring Nolan in the beginning. You didn't really miss nothing. I don't really have a whole big update. There was a couple text messages between Christine and Warren that has been leaked. Other than that, there's not really any major updates in the case so far.
House. Negative. We're en route to the judge's house now.
This is scary.
You said y'all are en route to the judge's house or from the judge's house? En route to the judge's house. That's 10-4. I keyed up on you. Appreciate it. 10-4.
32, finish up with whatever you got and get down here.
They didn't have to add the sound like that. That's just scary. Why they do that?
Potential missing person.
You have all the information from this 1050.
10-4.
I'm 1024, 108. Me J2.
Nolan Wells.
All right, I guess it's time to clear the air on a few things. Number one, no, my videos have not been about this Nolan person. I ran with it, and I'm going to explain why. No, it was not for views. No, it was not for clicks. It was a social experiment. Number one, my video was real, where I said there's some people that need to make some things right, or I'm going to leak some things. Gave no other context to it. Gave no names, no businesses, no scenario of what it could be about. Yet people were in the comments section assuming I had something to do with taking the life of this Nolan Wells person, or had information that could lead to an arrest. With no context given, you guys got into a comment section off of some random Joe's video and assumed where his name was never given, no kind of similar scenario was given to this person, and you guys ran with it. Even after multiple times I put in the comment section, this has nothing to do with it. Yet you guys chose to ignore those comments and replies that I gave. So I decided to continue on with the videos and still gave no context, gave no names, never mentioned this person, and you guys still continued to believe that this had something to do with this Nolan person. This right here is a teaching moment for people in social media.
Yep, he's lying.
Tell me. Sadly, Cat will. The day. The day.
I'm joking. I don't know.
And they were.
I mean, we loved him dearly. Yeah, no one was like
it's a joke, bro. Like it's a joke. Just look at this dude. Like it's a joke. Like he's not even gonna honor his friend, sadly, like if he misses him, like a normal person would honor, talking about their dear beloved friend. Like, I'm just not buying some of these guys' story, and like, why even make it more weird like that? If it just doesn't really sit with me very well. I do not like that whatsoever. I mean, we loved him dearly. Like, why are you looking like that then? What are you smiling about? Your friend is dead. You're honoring the fact that you miss him. Why are you sitting there smiling and doing a weird smirk? I don't get it. And I'm not trying to make it sound like he's a suspect or weird. It's just, I just find it weird.
I mean, we loved him dearly.
Like, what is he smiling about, Chad? I don't get it. Seriously, what is he smiling about?
So, yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us.
He doesn't even know what to say. Oops, yow. Well, I'm not going to be able to take that one back. God. Oh, and I was trying to say something like that really honored him. That's really going to make people really feel the fact that we are genuinely friends. Nope, this is what I'll say when I really don't have nothing to say about a friend that I really don't actually really know. Now, imagine he was questioned about Warren and Jax. Oh, he would have a whole lot to say because they really do hang out. No, I'm definitely going to address this one, Chad. I can't hold back from this one here. And that's one thing we got to review and rewatch again is this interview because boy, oh boy, I mean, and to be, quite frank, honestly, I think Brandon Tatum made a big mistake on interviewing the three of them all at once. Huge mistake. Not only because it was going to expose them more, but because of the fact that they're assisting each other with stories that they share about Nolan. Not only that, what the hell are they taking turns for? Just intervene and respectfully interject when you want to share your thoughts about your beloved friend. They don't have to necessarily take turns. Oh, well, it's your turn, Jack. Go ahead. Okay, yeah. Was this planned or what? I don't get it. Like, that's a true mistake on his behalf. Just look, I mean, come on. You're going to know exactly what you want to say when it comes to your friends. You're literally going to know what to say. You're not going to sit up there and say, I mean, we loved him dearly. Oops, like what? Bro, that just don't sit with me well.
Nolan was like a brother to us, and I can say without a doubt,
Oops, let me
nobody
play it
wants to
off.
know what happened to him more than we do.
Let me just play it off like something's in my lip or something like that so that it just throw off the stream or whoever's watching or come on, man. I ain't buying that.
So, yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us. And
Not buying that.
I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened to him more than we do. I mean, we want to know what.
I mean, Nolan was like a brother to all of us. I mean, we loved him dearly.
And then what is he all upset about? Is this emotion? Is Warren getting ready to cry about something? Because honestly, there's nothing that he said about about Nolan that really like makes me reflect on a time and reminisce on a time that we have that I just so happen to have repetitively in my head. I don't know. What would you say that you're observing when you're seeing the emotion that seems like that could possibly be there that hasn't been there in every single interview? Or excuse me, in all of the interviews, which is only two, the one that he did alone with Tatum, and then the one we're currently looking at. Do you see guilt? Do you see, him being upset with the fact of the comment that's being made during this specific moment? Like, is he not happy with something that Jax may have said? It's just really, really odd. These just are not your normal, emotions. And I want to zoom in on his face real quick. I don't know, man. It's just weird. I'm stretching? I'm not stretching anything. It's just weird. I'm not stretching nothing. Whatever you mean. You're stretching. What is your stretching supposed to mean? Anyway,
So, yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us, and I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened. I mean, we loved him dearly. Yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us, and I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened to him more than we do. I mean, we want to know what. I mean, Nolan was. Yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us.
I gotta see this one more time.
I mean, we loved him dearly. Yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us, and I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened to him more than we do. I mean, we want to know what. I mean, Nolan was like a brother to all of us. I mean, we loved him dearly. Yeah, Nolan was like a
and
brother.
Then he shakes his head like he is just not happy with that comment. You know why he's not happy with that comment? Because there wasn't even a comment. There wasn't even a comment at all. Unless you want to consider the same thing that they've been saying the entire time is the fact that they love him dearly. That's about it. That's all you can say about your friend is that you loved him dearly? What? You couldn't even get prepared for the interview and write down your thoughts just to play it off? I'm sorry. I can't let him pass on that one. I can't let him. I'm sorry. I can't let that one slide. Let's continue here.
Give a little time. And today, loved ones of Nolan Wells are uniting with faith leaders and supporters on what would have been his 19th birthday. Instead of a celebration,
the fight broke out.
I told y'all that Jax was the ringleader. I told y'all. He sat in this.
We now have the second person arrested amid.
Well, we actually have proof that Grandpa Jerry was actually on Horns Island as well.
Did you just hear?
I'll ever notice how.
Ooh, y'all.
By the way, real quick here, let's see if I can find it here. I'm gonna go back. Somebody points out the mom. Because remember, Warren explains that his mom is on the northern end. You know what, just real quick here. We don't even need to see that video. If I see it, I'll put it up here. I think tomorrow we're gonna review this video and really observe this body language. And I'm no body language expert, but you know when somebody is not telling the truth. You know when they truly have a genuine friendship that they can really express and share with someone that they had, you know, a real genuinely, you know, friendship history. I just don't see it, folks. I don't see it at all. I think they're friends, but the fact that the father even went in there and questioned it, you know, he was like, you know, I'll roll the clip. We'll just roll the clip. We'll roll it real quick before we even get to this next part, and then we'll get off here for the night. I'm gonna roll the clip. Hold on. We'll roll it.
And she was telling him that his keys was on top of the Xbox. I said, look, so it could be a whole nother issue. I don't want y'all bothering it. And three, I need you guys to calm down, and I need them to kind of trust me as being an adult so I can get something out of them. So I get them out the house.
Hey, thanks for the duel, by
Jax
the way,
finally
guys.
comes down the stairs, I guess in the room. Hair all messed up like he just woke up, whatever. I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. His car's outside. I need to get his car and all his personal effects that may be left over here. And he goes, oh man, Nolan was like my brother. I said, Nolan was like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go and get everything of his so I can get his car, I can go home. So he walks off. 2 or 3 minutes later, he come back. I don't see the keys. Okay. So I leave out the house, go back outside, stand by the car. During that time, one of the guys that was in the house, one of the other friends, he was on the phone with a girl who was apparently there with them earlier that day. And she was telling him that his keys was on top of the X.
No. I'll tell you what happened during that time. See, this is the part I was talking about that the father left out. During that time that he says he goes back and walks, back to the car, Javon's mom is sitting there arguing and fighting with them. No, her son is actually sitting there arguing and fighting with them to the point where they almost got into a fight. Because not only did he have to get her out the house, but supposedly Wyatt was the one who got really mouthy with the mom, and she had to, or he first of all said, told Wyatt, like, look, don't talk to my mom like that. And who else, who God knows what else she might have said. Or what really took place from there, but she didn't really elaborate on it, nor did she, nor did she really say specifically. But I thought that was really, really odd for him to leave that out, which is very important to know. I think, but what's happening, I think the reason why the mom is not in contact with Warren or won't talk to Warren is because they are very, very upset with Warren and, Nolan Wells, supposedly close friends, because of the miscommunication that occurred at the home based on the way they entered the home, how they acted. I just think everything went down all bad. It just didn't go down good. Hold on, child. Let me pull this up. I'm trying to find this clip real quick here. And don't quote me on it, but I am pretty sure that's what went down. I don't know. To me, I think that's exactly what went down. I really wish I could find this person's name. You are what you eat. Oh, I'm beat, Sammy. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. Yeah, I'm beat. I'm about to get up pretty soon here. What's going on here? Dad has no reason to lie. I guess I wouldn't necessarily say he's lying. What I really was saying was he's leaving things out. He didn't say what really happened. They didn't even mention the fact that the police had to be called because someone had to be removed from the house. The boys made that statement, which turned out to be true because we also heard that dispatch call that took place as well. Just, was there any update last night? From what I heard, they recovered the vehicle and they have the suspects, but they don't have them detained. Or they haven't, as far as I know, they haven't got the suspects. But from what I heard, they might have recovered that vehicle. Yeah, so both suspects have been identified, both Hispanic males, and vehicle was recovered. That's all it states right now at this time. I wanted to see if there was an update myself, but no vehicle at this time, guys. All right, real quick here. I want to see if I can find this video for y'all. If not, I'll play it from my last stream because I have the video anyways, but I just didn't. I guess I don't think I let it play all the way through on my end when I played it. So hold on. Why is it? Her name is not coming up. Tamisha. I also haven't got a chance to look and see if there's more video on this lady here. Hold on. I want to see if this will come up here. Oh my God, what's this lady's name? Or I'm sorry, not her name, but her last name. I'm gonna find it, chat. Give me a sec. I'm gonna find it.
I'm not saying that. Not in the nefarious way, but can I trust what Mama is saying? Because Mama is contending with her son's reputation too. Now, anybody with a
Which is stellar.
Because Mom.
People don't even believe the story. So the People released the other day, Nolan Wells' mom says that she heard he was perfectly fine and not sloppy drunk at a party before he disappeared and died. Wansley said that one of Wells' friend's coaches told her that she saw Wells for July 4th between approximately 2:45 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. local time. He was like, Christine, yeah, we talked for a while. We talked about college. We talked about his life, his plans. Christine remembered the coach saying, and he was like, he was perfectly fine because I think it had bothered him too, that there was this narrative, he was a sloppy drunk.
Could it be possible that he was doing something like this and it was something potentially criminal? One of the parents almost screamed at me at the idea of never would Nolan do anything like that. Nolan was a perfect kid. I mean, I'm telling you, even the other parents are defending Nolan. But anyway, the whole thing about drinking, Chris, come on, man. We know you're not going to Horn Island at 18, 19, 20, and you're not having a good time. There's a video out right now. We posted it. It's all over the internet. They pan the thing. You see Nolan in the water. You see everybody with drinks in their hand. You see another kid passing out drinks. There is no way that Nolan is not having a drink. And there are accounts that people told me that Nolan had a lot of drinks. Now, Warren said when he saw Nolan at 3, Nolan seems to be fine. People that saw Nolan after 3 said that he had been drinking. Now, nobody really knows what's the contributing factor because you don't really know. You could be drinking a lot and you could be getting woozy from exhaustion. Because, Chris, I went out there for an hour and a half. I think I was at Horn Island. My arms are peeling now because I got sunburn. I wanted to take a nap. This is the sun just beaming on me, and I wasn't even drinking or nothing. I wasn't even in the water. I jumped in the water to get to the island and jumped in the water to get back on the boat. I mean, it was like a 20, 30-minute boat ride. And, man, I wanted to go take a nap. Imagine being out there for 6 hours and drinking.
Yeah, not hydrating, drinking
not
booze.
Hydrating. You're just drinking beer and stuff.
Listen, I get it. I mean,
well, unfortunately, you can't imagine being out there for 6 hours when you're drunk and under the influence. That time goes fly, especially when you're having fun. I mean, 6 hours is nothing when you're having a blast. So probably not a very good example. Wow, they must have took down the video because I don't see it.
I just thought it was interesting that,
but people, Chris, people have, this is becoming more than it ever should have been because it reveals the internal racism that black people have. And I'm not saying anybody else is racist. I'm just speaking from black people. Every time you remember the Carmelo thing? You had people saying they were glad that white boy got killed. People made rumors and lied all about this kid's character, and they defamed him and everything. Then you go to trial, and Carmelo Anthony was guilty. He was sentenced. It was clearly a disproportionate use of what he would consider self-defense. It wasn't right. He was wrong. He stabbed him. He admitted to stabbing him. You had an entire wave of the black community that if you decided you were going to say something about Austin Metcalf that was positive, if you were to come out and say that Carmelo Anthony was wrong, you got lectured. They called you every name in the book. And look at what happened in the case. I knew what happened because I'm a cop and I know what the laws are. This case is very similar. If you don't say that these white boys did something wrong, and I almost would challenge you, Chris, to try this, but I don't want you to try it because, you know, it can become ugly. But I almost want you to say, I don't think they did it. And watch your voicemails and watch your Instagram messages. You're going to get your life threatened. I just played like 3 calls that Ben Hudson got. Dudes were saying, we're going to kill you. We're going to come kill your kid. We're going to catch y'all out. He gave $50,000 towards finding out what happened to Nolan. You know, it's a racial thing. And in our country, it's completely divided on these topics every single time. And it's because these race hustling activists, they come out and interject race. Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf had nothing to do with race. It's a young man making a poor decision that ruined his life. No race is involved in this, man. We don't have any reason to believe any one of these boys had a racial
Well, I
animus.
agree with that. We don't have any reason to believe right now in what's going on with Nolan Wells. We have no reason to believe.
But Chris, why do they bring it up? Why would they bring it up?
I mean,
they
we both know
what
why
they're
they bring it
doing.
up, because it was that initial picture is one black guy and a bunch of white guys, and it seemed like 5 guys went out, 4 guys came back, and it's the black guy.
But
that's
that's
the
not
initial image.
right.
I know
but
it's not
people-
accurate, but that was the image.
Right, and that image in some people's minds, who are
And it's Mississippi.
right. But
you know.
see, but it's they have a race. They live life through a racist lens. I see a picture saying these boys went out. One boy did not come back. These boys may have done something they shouldn't have done. They made a mistake, and they're wrong. They should go to prison if they have done something to this boy. I don't think. Oh, it must be something because it's white boys and a black guy. We're past that. Here, if you're intelligent enough, you should be past that. In Mississippi, I'm telling you right now, Chris, they can't name another comparable case that they say a black person was done wrong in the last 10, 15 years. A comparable case. Where do they have a case of bias where they have a white kid that did this crime?
Yeah, but see, the problem is Tatum is jumping to conclusion, and the fact is what it is, and what that is the fact that you're not able to determine whether or not that this is a race issue. We don't know that at all. Although I would highly disagree that it's not. And you guys know me; it makes me upset to even know that the race part of this specific situation was inserted into this situation. Not only that, I mean, you got the mother sitting down, listening to preachers and whatnot, saying that it is a race thing. It's not even just Benjamin Crump or Al Sharpton. I mean, it's also a lot of the people she's surrounding herself with who are, making it a race thing. And they have a video of her sitting down, the pastor sitting there, talking about just making it a race thing, and she's, just sitting there shaking her head, yes, just kind of taking it all in. And I get it. She could very much so just simply be grieving, and just shaking her head, telling herself in her own head that she could get through it, rather than really paying attention to the words. I have no idea. I can't call it. But I will do some research here, and we'll watch this video tomorrow. We'll analyze this video with the boys after I get back from being on the ground tomorrow, and we will always we'll watch this video, that interview, and then I'll show you guys that video with Tamisha. I can't find the actual video, which is what I wanted to find, but I was really looking for it because I wanted to see if that video would lead to other videos that she had made have slipped up and ended up getting reposted by somebody else that we watched yesterday. And I'm wondering also if that specific video has hold on a sec. She had made have slipped up and ended up getting reposted. You might hear me repeat myself one time here. Because of I just played the sound here. I need to stop commenting immediately upon joining a discussion. Why? Why you say that? Nala says it's over a girl. I don't know. I feel like if that was the case, then Tristan would have taken part in it, because that is a girl that, he used to mess around with. I'm beat, y'all. I'm super tired. All right, let me see if I can pull this up here. Just real quick before I get off here, chat. I cannot find it. Okay, here it is here. Good night, Linda. Thanks so much. Let's see if I can pull this up for y'all real quick. So we were looking at and listening to this yesterday. I'm gonna play the clip here real quick, and then I'm gonna get off. But we're gonna run through this tomorrow, and then also I'll get to this. I'll find this person who actually posted this. Just don't have the time tonight. I go to work in like 2 hours, so.
Again, where's the phone? She's gone. That's when he told me she was gonna get it. I said, oh, she must have to go back to Horn Island truck outside. Now, mind you, we had to pass all the cars to walk in the house. It's just it's a bunch of lies. I don't feel the need to, like I said, when they go to mentioning Javon, I'm gonna say and stand up behind mine every single time. As far as me and that nudge and shit, I don't feel the need to explain anything to any of y'all.
She's not referring to anybody like that's her friends.
So this is Jay.
She's referring to Javon as her son.
And remember, this is Javon's mom.
She's referring to Jalen as her son. Not only that, she says when Wyatt gets mouthy, Jalen gets on dude, Wyatt, and says, you better stop talking to my mom like that. You're gonna have to deal with me. So this all spiraled out. Not only that, I don't even know. It sounds like it took Nolan's dad some time to really de-escalate this situation. So this was a whole commotion, which the dad doesn't explain that part, because he leaves that whole part out, and then he says, well, after he goes by the car, he says he went by the car and waited for them to look for the keys. Really, he went by the car because he probably didn't want to be involved in this whole altercation that was about to take off. So he waits by the car while they're doing whatever they're doing. And then finally he says Jack comes downstairs or whatever at some point in time, and Jack looked like he was asleep. There's no way Jack was asleep through all of this. I'm telling you right now. That just, you're in these people's house.
Friends were there to the house.
Didn't know where the key was, and all of a sudden we know where the key is.
But see, hold on. But see, this and this is another thing that bothered me too. When we got to the house, it was some of his other friends were there, and they were, beating on the door.
See what Nolan, because we trying to figure out why y'all see y'all ass up here chilling and Nolan missing.
I'm gonna tell you.
I'm not sure where it was at, sister. I'm not sure why Warren is in the house. And they sent me to his house, which that boat had never even been in the water. Why?
Around, or everybody like in a small space on the boat looking out.
Weird to me. Very weird.
And they sent me to his house, which that boat had never even been in the water. Wyatt did. I never even really talked to Warren. The whole time I was in the house, I spoke with Wyatt. Wyatt is the one who had the phone that supposedly was in his truck or whoever. But Wyatt is who I talked to. I never talked to Warren. I'm not sure why Warren is doing that. But I turned the camera around directly on Wyatt and told my sister outside somewhere.
So I noticed that she was recording. She says she turned the camera around Listen.
Whoever. But Wyatt is who I talked to. I never talked to Warren. I'm not sure why Warren is doing that, but I turned the camera around directly on Wyatt and told my sister. Outside somewhere. They said it was in the truck. I'm not sure where it was at. It took them at least 15 minutes to bring me the phone. By this time, the boys will start, because Wyatt started getting jazzy at the mouth. So my son, Jalen, was like, hey, you better watch your tone. Like, don't get smart, my mama.
Right.
Because we trying to see what Nolan, because we trying to figure out why y'all see y'all ass up here chilling and Nolan missing.
I'm gonna tell y'all right
why-
now. Hold on, wait a minute. First of all, look, I done heard this voice 1,000 times, and I'm not going to make the assumption off of that, but I could just tell by the way she's talking, like, there are some black women out here that can get crazy real quick, okay? And there are some women, period, that'll get crazy real quick. But I could just tell there has to be more to this interview that we haven't seen. I need to see that I need to see this entire video. Truly do. And they're very disappointed right after the fact of breathing hard. I mean, look at him.
Scrambling around, or everybody like in a small space in the boat looking out.
In my last video, I'll show you that there's 2 doors up.
Or whoever. But Wyatt is who I talked to. I never talked to Warren. I'm not sure why Warren is doing that, but I turned the camera around directly on Wyatt and told my sister. Outside somewhere. They said it was in the truck.
All right, chat. We will continue that tomorrow, guys. God bless you guys all for chiming in here. I appreciate all the love and support tonight. I got to get going here. Sorry I didn't have any major updates, but I wanted to just really get on to honor and, just give tribute to Nolan Wells tonight here. We'll continue coverage here on the ground and at home tomorrow. God bless you guys all for stopping by and chiming in. I will see you guys later on today. Gotta get to work. Gotta go, guys. I will see y'all mañana, guys. I am beat tonight, and it's starting to affect me right now. I'm donezo, guys. Whew. Much love, guys. Big salute. Shouts, Bruce. Much love. I appreciate you tuning in, Olivia, as well as Texas woman. No proof. There isn't any proof until otherwise, and I honestly can't say they did anything at all. I don't think that they have anything at all, if you ask me. But they are working on it. If there is anything that they can dig up that proves that they were responsible for what happened to Nolan Wells. Happy birthday, Nolan Wells. Love from the Juice to Nolan Wells and the Nolan Wells family. Prayers. Closure for Nolis. Did I say Nolis? Oh, I'm really tired. Slap yourself. Much love, guys. I'm out of here. Prayers. Closure for Nolan Wells. Have a good night, folks. See y'all mañana, folks.
We won't bow down, Let it crack, let it show. Every lie they try to grow. One by one, the voices rise.